All right, so I'm gonna recap on what I was just talking about in my videos where I was explaining kingdom marriages. If you haven't watched those videos, go check it out. I'm gonna leave the link in the comment section. So, right now, I'm gonna just recap on Genesis 29, 31 through 35. And when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben, for she said, surely the Lord hath looked upon my affliction. Now therefore my husband will love me. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, because the Lord hath heard that I was hated, he hath therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Simeon. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, now this time my husband will be joined unto me, because I have borne him three sons. Therefore was his name called Levi. And she conceived again and bare a son, and she said, now I will praise the Lord. Therefore she called his name Judah, and left barren. So as you can see, Leah's focus is on Jacob. Leah's focus is on trying to get Jacob to love her more than Rachel, when it was already established in his heart his desire for Rachel. All right. And so she thought by having these children that God was blessing her so that Jacob could love her more, and she was missing the point until verse 35, where she said, now I will praise the Lord. So he saw that she was hated and gave her a son, but it wasn't so that Jacob could love her more. This is what the Lord was revealing to me as I'm reading this, but it was so that she could experience true love from her son. And so she finally gets it. And y'all, this is what's happening with these prophetesses that I told y'all time and time again. I know y'all probably tired of me talking about it, but the Lord is like, speak on this. So I'm not going to stop until, his point is made. And the Lord was telling me, God has a sense of humor. The Lord was telling me that these prophets were just like Leah, because when he gave them a promise, that was their focus, and they idolized the promise. They idolized marriage, so they idolized their kingdom spouse. And you can see it. The thing is, everything that I'm saying, it aligns with what's going on. Go on YouTube, type in prophetic words. You will see these women speaking prophetically over marriages, time after time after time. Most of their page is filled with marriage prophecies. And it's like, that's not even the Lord's focus right now. Though that may be a part of his plan, that is not his main concern. This world is literally coming to an end. So there's different things that he wants to touch base on. And they're preaching marriage more than they're preaching Jesus. And that's a problem. Marriage is not going to get you into the kingdom. All right. So I say all that to say this. They were like Leah because they missed the point. All right. God gave her a miracle, just like God gave them a miracle. This is your kingdom spouse, right? And so when they saw me come on the YouTube scene, and they saw me preaching, they saw me prophesying, they saw me doing music, they envied me. They were jealous. And so Leah, we can tell by this that she had some envy in her, because she was jealous of the way Jacob loved Rachel. She missed the point. She could have just went on and, found somebody else, or prayed her way out of her situation because she was, a maid. But she could have just prayed about it. And this is where they lost their focus, because they saw me get on the YouTube scene, and instead of praying against the attacks that was sent on their spouses, because I told y'all, their spouses started coming on my channel, lusting after me, all right, wanting me to be their spouse. This is what they were praying on. They were getting angry. And so instead of praying to God, like, God uses everything for a reason. He tests everyone. So just because they're prophets does not mean God's not going to test their hearts. No, in fact, he will test it more to see, all right, can I take you to this next level? Can I take you to the full promise? They thought it stopped there. He said a land flowing with milk and honey. They just wanted the milk. There was honey at the end of that road when they put it all on the line because of jealousy. So instead of praying to God, right, saying, God, please give me a different spouse, instead of having faith enough to believe that he could do something better than that, they settled for their husband that God ordained for them. They didn't believe God could do better. And I was the opposite. That's the whole point. So this is so prophetic. I was the opposite because God gave me my kingdom spouse. And guess what? Instead of just rushing, because I wasn't thirsty for marriage, the reason they were thirsty for marriage is because they finally found God and they finally said, wow, here goes a man of God that's going to love me for me. And they're experiencing love they never felt before, or predestined love because they received dreams and visions of how the marriage was supposed to go. And they just they put it on the throne of their hearts. And so they were so thirsty for it. They were thirsty to jump into that marriage. They were thirsty to experience a different kind of love they never felt before, until they finally got it and realized, whoa, hold up. This is turning into something different. I am shocked by this. This is unexpected. So they were like Leah. Well, maybe if I do this, my husband will love me more. Maybe if I say this about her, he will love me more. Maybe if I da 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 da. Y'all, that didn't change the way they felt. So they didn't pray about it. They didn't fast about it. They acted on it. Mm-mm-mm-mm. So the point I'm making is this. When I received my prophetic marriage, I was like, God, I cannot. All right. This is not what I want. I believed that he was able to do exceedingly and abundantly and beyond anything I could ever ask, think, or imagine. And so, with that being said, with that faith, he made it better. Hence the bride of Christ. And so they didn't have that faith. They were thirsty for marriage. I wasn't. I didn't care for marriage like I cared about God. I put God first. He was on the throne of my heart, which is why he moved on my promise the way he did. Which is why he made it better. They didn't believe he could make it better. Or they weren't even willing to wait. They were rushing because they wanted to experience that love. When God said the whole point, Leah's, the whole point was to call on me more, because your prophecies were all about marriage. Your prophecies were all about the promise. What about Jesus? That was the point. So I gave you those promises so that you would have peace. I told you these things so that you would have peace. Keep your mind stayed on Christ and you will be at perfect peace. They weren't at peace. They were insecure. They didn't sow the seed. Therefore, now they have to die. Now they have to go to hell. That is what their end is. That is their reward. That was not my focus. My focus was the kingdom.